Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about ad frequency, or in other words, how many times your ads are supposed to show up for one particular person or for each particular person you're trying to advertise to, and how that has to do with remarketing / retargeting. To get the most money out of your PPC retargeting or remarketing campaigns. The main thing with retargeting / remarketing, just to tell you right off the bat, most people hate these ads, and ads in general for that matter, online ads, because most people who do online advertising don't, they have a bonehead doing the work, whether that's internal to their company or they hire a firm and they want to pay little for big results. They end up doing these super generic, untargeted ads and don't help the user out at all. They're not clever. And to make up for it, they think that they're just going to blast the hell out of them and that'll be the difference. And reality is, a well-targeted message to who you need to sell to will work extremely well. And that's the way that you go to make money from your ads in general. So people hate the ads because they're not relevant. Also remarketing ads. They're intrusive. They're everywhere that you damn go anymore. You see a damn ad. Whether you're on a video or on an app, doesn't matter where you go, you see ads. And which would be okay if the ads were helpful. They help me to make a decision on something I'm interested in or find a product that I know is cool. To a degree, the internet's getting better because the algorithms are getting better that target the ads, but still, for the most part, most ads aren't targeted well and the message sucks. The other reason why people hate ads is because they see the same ads over and over again. Specifically like with remarketing, as everybody knows what that is. You go to view a pair of shoes and then you see that same pair of shoes for the next at least month, and generally you see the same pair of shoes over and over again with the same exact message. Brown shoes, $49.99, and then you see that 100 to 200 more times or 500 more times over the next 2 months. And to a degree that works. It's better than no follow-up at all. But if somebody is on the fence and they're not sure whether or not they were going to buy those shoes, just telling them, hey, did you forget? Hey, did you forget? Hey, did you forget? Isn't going to get you that far or that much with your retargeting like it should. I'm telling you here today, if you haven't seen my other videos, which I've harped on this many, many times already, but if you're new, retargeting ads or remarketing, which remarketing, it's the same thing. Or they're used interchangeably in the marketing space. They mean the same thing. Ads that show up for people after they've been to your site. Retargeting ads will literally double the amount of money you make from any prospecting campaigns that you're doing, as long as you do it, keyword here being right. So you're spending all this good money to get people to your site, and then you do shitty follow-up. You're literally throwing half your advertising money or marketing money right out the window doing that. You can look it up. There's something called the power of sevens in marketing, which has been scientifically proven, basically, if you want to call it a marketing law, if there ever is one, that you will make more money advertising to fewer people more than once than you will advertising to more people only once. And the quality of which you advertise to people after they've seen your ad the first time will dictate how much you're going to make overall advertising to a set of people. If you do what everybody else does that makes people pissed off about seeing your ads, which is, hey, do you want to buy now? No? How about now? No? How about now? No? How about now? How about now? How about now? And just doing this over and over again with the same damn message over and over again, you'll make a teeny bit more money than you would have otherwise, only marketing to them once and then forgetting about them, which is actually even worse. But you'll double the amount of money you're making of whatever you're paying to get them to your site in the first place if you do the remarketing / retargeting the right way. The way that I'm showing you here that we employ on all of our clients' campaigns because we've tested and know this will double the sales. So what you want to do to double the sales via this Google search campaigns or Facebook ads, whatever you're doing to drive new traffic to your site itself, which you may be paying, some of you guys are paying 20, 30 bucks a click to get them to your site and do no follow-up or shitty follow-up, like I was talking about before, ultimately, and then not paying literally a penny. It costs literally 1 penny to have an ad show up for somebody that you paid $1, $2, $5, $10 to get to your site in the first place. That's why you're throwing half your marketing spend out the window, not doing the follow-up, because you pay $2 to get them to your site, but you're not going to spend a penny to have an ad show up for them after they left the site. And when you could follow up with a really solid message that explains, hey, I know you didn't buy, but by the way, we have a 5-year warranty. Oh, yeah, by the way, we have this great testimonial from a past customer who is like you. And you do this, so you follow up every person 50 times. It costs you 50 cents to follow them up 50 different times, and makes that $2 cost that it cost you to get them to your site in the first place pay off to where you get double the return out of it. So to sum all this up, by the way, you should think of marketing online. I don't care what you're selling. You have a funnel. Your job is to get people that you know it has a high likelihood of buying to see your ad, come to the site, and then you do even more work after they've been to the site to get them to finish their purchase, given 80+% of the people who get to your site aren't going to be ready to buy instantly. They're going to need to think about it. They need to look at other options that are online and so forth. It obviously varies by market. A lot of markets where you're selling something for $1,000 or more, 99% of people aren't going to be looking to buy immediately. So your job is to, with that, the better the quality of the remarketing, retargeting you do, the more money you're going to make. Making twice as much money than you would have otherwise with a good follow-up is actually standard. You can make 3, 4, 5 times as much money if you do the follow-up right, and you're in a market that most people aren't going to buy it until they've done considerable research in your market, which that goes up the higher the price of product or service you're selling. Anything over $100, this remarketing / retargeting stuff I'm talking about here, this method that we use to do this, to at least double the ROI from the advertising spend overall that we have, is going to be at least we're going to make at least twice as much with this type of follow-up. So, and to put it all in perspective, like I said, it literally cost a penny to advertise an ad to somebody you paid good money to get to your site in the first place. We'll spend, it depends a little on market by market, but 5% of our overall advertising spend that we have to spend for that client online to 30% of our advertising spend on just this follow-up. We spend more as a percentage when the average cost of purchasing is higher, and therefore people need to do more research, and there's a greater amount of time that usually exists between the time that the user initially finds out about us and the time that they're going to buy. So, and the more time it is, the more powerful the remarketing is going to, or more that the remarketing is going to play, and whether or not that person ultimately ends up buying from you or not. So, with all that said, now you understand the dynamics of remarketing, why this is important, and so on and so forth. To at least double the ROI as soon as you got something $100 or more that you're selling, particularly to double the amount of money you're making from your advertising as it exists today. If you're spending $5,000 a month now and you're getting $25,000 a month in sales, you can take that $5,000 a month in sales and make $50,000 a month in sales. Assuming you've done no remarketing now, or very, very, very minimal, just like, regurgitating whatever you said on the initial message in an ad. You employ this method right here, you can get it up to $50,000. If you were starting at 25, get it to 50 off of that same 5,000 in spend. So what is this exact method? Okay, I'm finally getting to the point here. It's very simple. in terms of the concept itself. Takes you some time to obviously put it together, but it's very simple. There's 2 steps here. First, create at least 5 to 10 different unique ads, all focusing on unique pain points, or if you want to call it benefits or whatever, that the user would be benefited by seeing once they've been to your site. If they've been to your site and you've said all the things that the user normally needs to know, many people are going to glaze over it. They're not going to remember it. That's why when you retell them in the remarketing ads that you do, you're going to end up with twice as much sales. And so your goal is to find out the things that most people care about, and then each one of those things you're going to put it in a different ad, and then you're going to rotate those ads out to tell that user a story through the ads. And then you're going to do it with a certain cadence, going and frequency, so that they don't oversee it, but see it enough that you're still maximizing the amount of money that you're making. So we've tested this every which way, showing the ads a lot, a little, so on and so forth. This is the method that we found maximizes the return itself in terms of number of ads, and then number of times the ad should show to each person, i.e. ad frequency. So you want at least 5 to 10 different remarketing ads going and cycling out, and you want them to do it in all available platforms too, by the way. Google Display Network, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads if it applies in your market, TikTok remarketing, and with all that, you want ultimately the reason why you do all this is because the remarketing, once you got this set up, is so powerful. In case somebody doesn't go online but they only go on Facebook, you want to hit them. If they don't go on Facebook but they go to crosswords.com, you can still hit them, i.e. through Google Display Network in that case. So you maximize your opportunities to get in front of every person. But what you do is you have 5 to 10 different ads. I have over 20 different remarketing ads going for GuaranteePPC.com. If you want to see some intense shit, go to my site and then watch the remarketing ads that show up for you afterwards. I know in our market it's all about trust. And people don't necessarily trust us right away, but when they start seeing all this other information from our brand over the next 6 months, they begin to trust us. Even though your market's not quite, so people don't inherently not trust you like they don't trust people in the marketing space. It's the same exact shit. So what you'll want to do, just as an example sequence here, yours is going to be different. You're going to want to focus, depending on how much people automatically don't trust your space, will dictate how much of your ads you're going to focus on the trust, building trust, versus how people just need to be educated on the facts. You may go heavier on ads that just focus on the facts. I like to tell people, and for when we're representing clients, I'll talk to the salesperson that's directly hands-on with that customer and find out the most common questions that are asked during the sales process, mapping that out, and then each ad that I do will focus on each one of those individual reasons or questions that the user had. I'll also ask who the leading competitors are, and then I'll ask why we're better than that competitor, and then I'll also put those into an ad. If your thing's twice as powerful as all the other people in your market, but a little bit more expensive, well, you damn well should be putting that into an ad saying you're twice as powerful. Otherwise, expecting people to have seen that on your landing page or on your site when they clicked on your ad to get to your site in the first place, it's really less than 50% chance they've even seen that. Even if it's like plastered there on the website, people don't notice everything. The remarketing is theirs to just absolutely drill in their heads the main things that they normally need to know or ask about to buy, and the things that they should know to know that you're better if they are considering multiple options. So with that said, you could have a testimonial show up for them immediately once they leave your site. If they convert into a sale, you can have these ads shut off, by the way. That's not hard to do with any of the remarketing options that I mentioned where you should go do your remarketing at. The next day, they can see an ad that has your average review rating on Trustpilot or Clutch or any of the other industry review sites that you may have. Why? Because everybody knows what a 4.6 rating on Trustpilot is. So when you say you got a 4.6 rating on Trustpilot, they know you can be trusted. It's really that simple. You're trying to go with stuff that people inherently just know without having to do research on and not using fancy terms that people in your industry may, not be familiar with if they're not really embedded in your industry. With advertising copy, you always want to write it at the level of a 5th grader. If a 5th grader can't understand what you're saying, it's too complicated. Not just because people are stupid, you're not trying to treat them like they're stupid, it's just the easiest way to understand that everybody knows what you're talking about. Same thing with these remarketing ads. So anyway, so they see the testimonial right away, right after they leave your site basically. Then the next day they see your average score on Trustpilot. Then the next day they see an ad that focuses on the product construction. It uses high quality stitching, will not burst at the seams. Then the next day they see an ad that says focusing on, or that it focuses on that you're American made. American made product. Do not, if you wanted an ad, our competitors are not American made, ours is. Therefore, you only want to buy from us. Next ad that they see the next following day will be focusing on free shipping or shipping time. 2 days shipping available and free shipping. So if a lot of people buy because of the that you offer free shipping, that's another one that I would do in a separate ad. So I said before, what are the questions that people ask about, and putting those into different ads, and then saying why you're better than the competitor, putting that in the ads. The third thing that you want to put in the ads usually is things that you normally know from the sales process as well tip people over the edge. So normally they expect you're going to have not free shipping, and you do have free shipping. Well, you don't just mention that on your page, you mention that in your remarketing ads as well. Then the next day they're going to see another ad that focuses on the current promo that you're offering. So what this specifically is, you are going to do this every single month. You're going to have a different promo or promo code every month. And this more applies for e-commerce businesses, I will admit. But what we'll do for all clients in our remarketing is we'll ask that client to give us a promo code for each month. One for February, one for March, one for April, so on and so forth. The April discount code will make the code tied in with what excuse we're going to have for having a discount that month. So for April, it might be, the code might be RAIN25. And then in our remarketing ad, we'll say April rain in showers discount. Use code RAIN25 to receive an extra 10% off your order, April only. What this does is it builds urgency and perceived scarcity in your product, because the killer of conversions is procrastination. A lot of your customers will, or potential your prospects will say, "Oh, I'll buy from somebody, but I'll wait till later," or "I'm not quite sure who to buy from yet, so I'm not going to make a decision." Those people are usually we'll just say, or many times will be the difference between a campaign that's profitable and one that's not. You add in an ad like that always shows up for everybody who's been to your site saying, if you're going to buy, you might as well buy now, because if you wait next month, you ain't getting 20% off your damn order. And then they'll say, shit, I better do this now. And there's the discount code on the ad, so they'll be thinking, if I don't write, well, they could write it down, but if I don't use this discount code right now, I'm not going to be able to see this ad in the future probably. Even if, I plan on doing it next week and it's actually good for 3 more weeks, I might not even see this ad again. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it now so I don't forget and end up having to pay 20% more. Because ultimately, a lot of people, they'll legitimately want to order your product, but they're lazy. They don't want to get the credit card out. They don't want to do it now. They're going to do it later. So they see this ad, and then it's their excuse to be able to get off their lazy butts and order now, not next week, because they could legitimately say, well, I'm going to order, damn it. I'm going to order next week. and things happen, they never order. So you'll make more money for every person that you drive to your site. You'll make more money as a whole getting them to put the order in now, even if you have to give them a small promo discount, then hoping that they eventually come back, because most people aren't going to come back. They're going to forget. They're going to blow the money on blowing hookers, whatever they're going to blow their money on. It's gone. You're not going to get it back. So you want to get them to buy as quickly as you can. You know, you don't pressure people, but you give them incentive to buy now. If you buy now, we'll give you this. And some of you guys can't do 10% off. You're going to do, you know, $50 off, or like a flat amount, or you're going to say comes with free shipping if you buy this month, or whatever you can do. Just know, you know, not very many people are going to use this, by the way. Out of all the orders you get and using that promo in with your remarketing, it'll be like 2% of your order. So it doesn't really matter anyway. So, but it just gives them, gets some more of the people off the fence. Each ad, by the way, gets more and more people off the fence. So you do that in April, and then right away in May, you have another remarketing ad that has the May promo on it. And you just keep doing that throughout the year, because that's a critical piece to get your doubling in the amount of, double the sales you're going to get from the same ad spend in your market. You're going to make all these ads. They're going to rotate out for the user as a part of a system to get the new traffic driving in to convert at a higher rate. Typically, you'll spend about 10% of your money on the remarketing because it's so cheap to do. And that 10% you're spending on the remarketing will get the 90% you're spending on the traffic to get new people into the site work twice as well. That's basically the whole crux of this. And as it comes to ad frequency, the perfect amount of cadence that we found in order to get the maximum out of this remarketing sequence you're setting up, and to make sure you're doubling the profit you get from your ads as your current ad spend, because if you show your ads too much to people, they'll start getting annoyed and they'll get pissed off, basically, seeing your ads too much. I know, because we went through this before. I originally thought, oh, the more the better. And then people really start getting pissed off to the point where they're calling us and saying, how do I get these fucking ads off my screen? I've heard this shit before from people. And then, whereas if you go too little, the whole magic of this, you don't get the full effect out of it. You know, spending all this time to not just come up with some random shit you pull out of your ass, but actual things that the consumer ultimately, most consumers that do buy from you or are going to buy from your market or someone in your market do care about. So what we found is about 5 impressions per week between all the ads. So you have, if you did what I told you here in this case, we have 6 different ads. You're going to have that in your campaign. Your ad frequency is going to be set at 5 per week. If you're doing Google Display Network, you can do this in the settings of the campaign. And so that what Google is going to do is ultimately run the ad. I would also let Google optimize best performing ads so they're shown first. And they'll pick out of the 6 ads which one to show ultimately. Sometimes I'll rotate evenly, because your options with Google Display Network is rotate evenly, let Google decide. I would rotate evenly for a long time and then eventually switch to let Google choose which ones to show once you've gotten 50 conversions already, so that the system's not going to screw up, if you will. On Facebook, it's a little harder to control that and make it so that each person only sees 5 of your ads every week. You have to have certain campaign types already set up to dial in the specific amount of ad frequency you want. But you can do it manually because it's too late to switch the campaign objective once you've got the campaign set up. But you could go in there and adjust your columns and have the frequency of your ad show up in your campaign menu there and under your ads, more importantly in the campaign menu, and just see how many, what's your ad frequency over certain time periods. If you go to the last 7 days and you see your ad frequency from that campaign's more than 5, well then you could just lower your ad budget. That's really your way of controlling it in that case, which I don't recommend having a campaign type set up just so that you necessarily can just exactly dial in so that you only have 5 impressions per person per week. Necessarily, because you can control it manually. But if I were wanting to go more hands-off with this, I would choose a campaign type on Facebook that would let me show 5 times per week. Because on a remarketing campaign, we already know that's about the sweet spot. So I'll do 5 impressions per week per person on Google Display Network. Like I said before, we're going to also remarket on Facebook every time. So if they're on Facebook, they see us there, and they're like, wow, I see them everywhere. And then I'm going to do it on TikTok. If the market, there's customers on TikTok in that market, i.e. younger people, I'm going to do it on LinkedIn 5 times per week. Each platform, in other words, 5 times per week is the ideal ad frequency of there's remarketing ads. But 5 per week, you got to also do this part where you're doing real research as to what you should be telling these people are the most important things that you could tell them in order to get the sale. It's basically all things that if you were to sell that person face to face, and you only had 2 minutes to talk to them, what would you say in order to get them to buy? We have great reviews, lots of testimonials. We're American made. We offer free. You're going to rattle off keywords basically to them or key phrases. That's what's going to be in these remarketing ads. So, ultimately why this works really well is because they're going to see 5 ads per week from you, and all 5 ads are all going to be unique ads. So they're going to see one thing, reason A, you should buy. Then reason B, you should buy. Then reason C, you should buy. Reason D, reason E. And then the next week, by the time a week has went by already, they've pretty much forgot the first ads that they've seen, for the most part, and then they're going to see the ads again, and each ad individually needs to be seen multiple times in order to make sure that you know that they've seen it and registered it. So you want each ad to be seen 50 times. And so when you're doing 5 per week per person, that gives us 150 showings per month, which makes sure that we're seeing 5 times per person per ad per month, roughly. And then we're going to run that. I do long-ass remarketing campaigns. The higher the price of product or service you have, the longer the remarketing should run, because the longer the average time it is for that person to, on average, buy from someone in the market from the time they initially start doing the research. So I'll have my remarketing last a year in any kind of market where we're selling something for more than like $200. So over that entire year, they'll see each of my ads 50 times, guaranteeing they not only seen each one of the ads that they need to see, that cumulatively works together with all the other ads to get a purchase at a higher rate from that person they would have got otherwise, but we don't hit them with it too much at once so that it's annoying and they start ignoring our ads. And so in other words, we want them to see it 50 times, but we just don't pack it all in 2 days. We stretch it out over the full 10 months so that they're annoyed, and that because it's a little bit like email marketing. Of course, email marketing, if you send stuff that's always interesting to them, there's no too much email you could send them. But if you keep sending the same messages to them, they're going to get pissed off, and not only going to ignore that message, but start ignoring all the messages. So if you spread out the ads and how they show over 10 months, in that they can only see one ad 1 time a week, they're not going to get to the point of being annoyed. Well, you've always got an ad in front of them for the entire 10 months that they could be still thinking it over. So that in itself is the formula we use and why we use it and how it's able to double the sales on any prospecting traffic, ultimately, or overall ad spend, devoting 10% of our ad spend to this remarketing sequence I talked about here, how we're able to double the productivity from any of the campaigns we're running, and how it works and why it works. So, you can take my information, you can leave it, but very, very, very few people are using this methodology here. Out of every person who advertises on Google and Facebook, currently, I'd say 1 in 500 or one in 100 at the most, or even doing anything slightly close to this. In terms of the variety of remarketing that they're doing, and then having it set up so that it can run for a long period of time, because there's a lot of people who don't make decisions for months and months in the future. And final thing I'll mention about this, in terms of the conversion tracking, if you're expecting people to see these ads, click, and buy right away, it's a fallacy. What you're going to see, what this does is it gets people, while they're reading an article, they see your ad and they think it's interesting what you showed them. A lot of people aren't even going to click. Some people will click, and even then, they're not going to be ready to buy, right? Because you showed them that you're an American-made company. They clicked through, went to the site, looked it over a bit again, because that's just not how things work. People buy on their own time. People buy on their own schedules, their own time frames. Most people, as you'll find, if they're not going to buy right away, when they do buy, they just go type your name into Google, and then they find you there, then they buy. When they get paid, when they talk to their wife or husband, when they feel like it. So don't be like what most people want to try to do and expect people should see that ad, click on it, and buy immediately, or it doesn't work. And even if they click on it and buy eventually, tracking isn't very good with any of these ad platforms to really ultimately show you a real return that you're getting from this happening for your business. What you will see and want to check is how your overall sales go up as a company once you've got this system employed for your business, because I promise you, your sales will go up. You won't have to spend any more on ads, but because 10% of the money is going on remarketing, your overall return on the money, that 90% left you're spending on your new prospecting campaigns to get new people interested in your product, service / brand, it'll make it work twice as well. Like I was saying before, what was the premise of this entire video? So a lot of people will just say, well, nobody's clicking on that and buy, so it doesn't work, fuck remarketing. And for me it helps because most people think like that. I don't have any competition. So you can take my word for it and go ahead and try 3 months. Or if you want to really prove it to yourself, we have a difficult client who's just simply being difficult, we'll say, okay, let's just do our remarketing on half the country or half the city or whatnot. And then we'll see how the sales go up over the next 3 to 6 months and show you that this actually does affect how many people that we're paying to get to the site ultimately end up buying. And then you'll see why we have to do it. So that really solves it for us in terms of having to convincing the client to get behind this. So anyway, that's the whole thing in terms of ad frequency as it goes to remarketing. Ad frequency, by the way, as it comes to new traffic acquisition or new prospecting campaigns to get new people to your site, that in itself, it varies a lot by market. Sometimes we'll want them to see it 3 or 4 times. Other times we'll want them to see it 25 times. It depends on the level of competition. Is it a new concept of what you're selling? Is it a new concept that people need to see a few more times to understand what it is that it's even being proposed to them? Do they need to see it more times because they're in a low trust market and just seeing it more is going to be necessary to get them to put stock in it? There's a lot of different factors there. The average, as they say, is about 7 times before your ROI starts to go down, 7 to 10 times. And that is kind of basically true on Facebook, on Google, or Google Display Network as you're doing that stuff. But it could be more or less. Don't just stick to the 7. Ultimately, it's however many times where you could still get a good return on your budget. That's really what it comes down to. But as it comes to remarketing, ad frequency has a formula that you can kind of stick to and stick by itself. What will vary in remarketing is how long you're going to remarket. If you're selling a $20 broom, either they're going to buy that sucker in a week or not buy it. So the remarketing cookie window, or how long that you're going to be able to, you're going to track people from the time they get to your site and how long the campaign runs, will just be like 7 days. If you're talking about a new house that they're buying, I would do it for 1.5 years, the maximum amount of time you can do on Google Display Network. You can't do that on Facebook anymore like that, but you can do 540 days on Google Display Network. So you should take advantage of it, which is why Google Display Network remarketing so much better than Facebook remarketing now. You can market, it sounds insane to market to somebody that long, but I'm telling you, there's people that, you know, we have roofing companies where we get people looking in the middle of December for a roof. They're not looking to buy a roof until April or May, but they do their research when they have time. And this is just, and for products, people look way before they're going to be ready to buy. They know they have no money to buy now, but they're going to do their research now, and you got to stick with them. You got to stick with them until they're ready to buy. Otherwise, you're throwing, like I said, half your money in the garbage can. So, with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel. And it could be about this or PPC in general. I'd be happy to try to help you out. You could also consider subscribing, of course. This is the best information you're going to find on YouTube about how to actually make money with PPC, given it's coming straight from the source. On somebody who manages several dozen PPC campaigns at any given time on Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth. And therefore, information that you know you can rely on. As a last note, you guys, if you still are struggling or don't have time to do the stuff I talk about on this channel, hire our firm to do it for you. We guarantee your results. We literally guarantee how much money you're going to make up front before we get paid. There's literally no reason, if you can't do this stuff yourself, not to hire us, because we don't get paid until you've already made at least that much, or you know, a certain minimum amount on your campaigns. So, you know, we don't work with everybody, but if you got a good business, we'll work on it for free initially. No other firm's doing this either, by the way, which should tell you about the quality of services and the stuff I share with you on the channel. So, if you wanted me to find out how much results I can get for your campaign, just reach out, guaranteeppc.com. Be happy to look over what you got, give you an estimate of how much results you can get, and then eventually how much we get paid, I'll let you know that as well. So, you know, you should reach out, at least find out, you know, if we can work with you. So with that said, if you haven't liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you give it the video a like.